Fans of American Pickers were shocked when Frank Fritz suddenly departed the show in 2021. Did he really leave on bad terms? And what was his life like before the hit series? Keep watching to find out. Although antiquing may seem like a hobby for older people looking to reminisce about the past, a passion for collecting can develop at any age. For renowned picker Frank Fritz, the desire to start collecting began as a kid. He told Sidewalks Entertainment, "You know, I collected all the staples when I was a kid, and it just escalated." He recalled collecting beer cans, stamps, coins, and razor blades, and his passion for beer cans continued through his career, becoming one of his signature finds on the show. Fritz continued to collect through his adolescence, moving on to big-ticket items like motorcycles and dirt bikes.
Started out buying dirt bikes, it was mini bikes, then I went to bigger motorcycles.
Although he enjoyed the hobby, he didn't pursue antiquing as a career after graduating from high school. It wouldn't be until about 25 years later that he'd begin his journey into becoming a picker. Although their relationship may seem strained now, the natural chemistry between Fritz and co-star Mike Wolfe wasn't entirely staged for the show. The dynamic duo knew each other long before any cameras started rolling. Fritz and Wolfe met in middle school and both graduated from high school in Iowa, which is where their shared passion for picking blossomed. However, Fritz told The Sun that the two weren't necessarily friends right off the bat. Although they both began collecting as children, it was Wolfe who initially started recording himself while antiquing and pitching the idea for the show to different networks, according to Southeastern Antiquing and Collecting magazine.
That's a good day to be a picker.
Wolfe had to convince Fritz to join him in his videos. This meant leaving behind Fritz's brick-and-mortar antique store, Frank's Finds, where he primarily sold Firehouse memorabilia and collectibles. After Fritz agreed, the two would drive around and record themselves on the way to picking sites.
Finally, I catch a break.
Aside from being an antique collector, reality star and entrepreneur Fritz is also an avid vintage motorcycle fan. As a teenager, one of his first antique purchases was a 1964 Harley-Davidson, much to the dismay of his parents. He now owns a barn filled with vintage motorcycles, and using his knowledge of bikes, Fritz published How to Pick Vintage Motorcycles 3 years after the debut of American Pickers. The guide explains how to find bikes, negotiate prices, and maintenance after purchase.
I mean, does it have a title? Is the frame cracked on it? What's the brakes look like?
Fritz is also a contributing author on American Picker's Guide to Picking. The 6-chapter book acts as a companion to the television show, going into depth on specific episodes. It also offers tips and tricks for anyone interested in getting into picking and collecting antiques. Fans didn't know what to expect following Fritz's sudden disappearance from the show.
I need a break.
But no one could have foreseen the controversy that erupted between the two childhood friends. According to Entertainment Weekly, Wolfe expressed his condolences for his longtime friends firing in a statement, saying in part, "I will miss Frank just like all of you, and I pray for the very best and all good things for him on the next part of his journey." But his involvement in Fritz's departure didn't stop there. In response to Wolfe's statement, Fritz spoke to The Sun, claiming that he'd never had a good relationship with his co-star and adding, "Mike's statement was bull. Somebody wrote it out for him." Still, it seems like the biggest issue between the two pickers was a lack of communicating during Fritz's hiatus for the show. Fritz told The Sun that his co-star never called to check in on him following a major back surgery, which left him with 185 stitches and 2 rods in his back. He alleged, "He knows I hurt my back. Everyone in the whole network knew I hurt my back. But did one person, just one, call and see how I was? No.
No.
Fritz has always been relatively private when it comes to his personal life, but sometimes personal issues get too big to hide. Before he was officially off American Pickers, he took time off for a serious back surgery and went public with his decision to enter rehab for alcohol abuse. He entered a treatment facility in Iowa for 77 days, according to The Sun. He spoke about the reasoning behind his decision, saying, "I didn't like drinking anymore. My mom was an alcoholic and she died 5 years ago, and it was alcohol related. My grandfather was an alcoholic and he died. That didn't sit well with me." But that's not the first time Fritz's substance abuse was in the news. In 2017, Fritz was arrested after driving the wrong way on the Iowa interstate. He was charged with an OWI and admitted to drinking and taking a dose of Xanax before getting behind the wheel, according to WQAD. It was Fritz's first offense. Fritz has been public with his ongoing health issues, especially his battle with Crohn's disease, which is a type of inflammatory bowel disease that can cause serious health complications, including weight loss, abdominal pain, dehydration, and anemia. There's no cure for it, although it's often treated with steroids or immunosuppressants. In 2013, fans began to question Fritz's sudden weight loss following a brief hiatus during seasons 8 and 9. To avoid any rumors, he spoke openly about his diagnosis on social media, saying, "I have an illness called Crohn's disease, which at times is difficult to deal with. I started losing weight and ran with it." Fritz spoke with The Sun to explain that he had lost 65 pounds due to a change in diet to help manage his symptoms. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Looper videos about your favorite stuff are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.